welcome to Hideaway Homestead. It's the first weekend in November, and finally we have a cool day. Actually wearing long sleeves out in the garden. This is exciting to us. We are so tired of hot weather. We've got several tasks to do in the garden today, and then we're going to move on to working on our goat shed. We're taking out a bunch of spent items, the okra especially. It keeps producing, but this is the 6th of November, and we've got to get that out so that we can get our fall and winter crops into the raised beds. We have been so blessed with all this okra. I'm almost tired of picking it, and that sounds so ungrateful. So come along with us today as we do these tasks in the garden and look forward to what we can grow in the fall and winter.
This is the raised bed that we had the okra growing in, and what we've done is Carol has gone through here and cut those down. You can see the little stumps still sticking up in the dirt there. The idea behind leaving them rather than pulling them up is to let the roots biodegrade down into the dirt and add nutrition to the dirt. So she's just going through right now and pulling out some of the debris and stuff that's on top of the ground. And you can also see, maybe if I can get a good close picture of them, we've also got some mustard greens planted right here, and they're starting to come up too. So our plan today is to put more mustard greens in here and try to get a whole bed growing of these things.
It takes so many leaves to make a meal that you can't do with just a few mustard plants.
Yeah.
They shrink down to tablespoon.
Yeah, they do. We planted these mustards in here while the okra was still growing, and that's the reason they're sort of sporadic in here. There's a few right there where Carol's pulling all that stuff out of there too. So hopefully we can get some more of these going in here, and we'll get a good harvest out of them. This is one of the other raised beds that we have. It's right next to the one we were just looking at, and you can see we still have a pretty good sized onion growing right there. And the marigolds are doing quite well. And we have this mystery vine, as we call it, over here. It has some kind of melons on it. We're not real sure what they are. Not even real sure how it got in here. We didn't purposely plant this one. And you can see a couple of little fruits on it right there. Anyway, so we're just going to let that go and see what it turns into. These are collard greens that we've got right here in these little pots. And we're getting ready to put them in. What'd you say?
We paid a small fortune for it.
Yeah, Carol said we paid a small fortune for these things, and we did. They're not real cheap, that's for sure. So we're going to take these out of these little pots and put them in the ground right here in this raised bed. And we have a tomato plant right here. It's still growing, so we're going to let it go and see what it does. It's got some tomatoes on it now, and see what happens with that. So that's on the order also today, is to get these collards into this dirt. Okay, what we're doing now is we have planted some seedlings in these little pots right here, and these are collard greens, and we're going to put them into these 1-gallon pots so that they can get big enough that we can actually put them in the ground. We've learned from experience that if we put these in the ground at the size that they are now, they just don't survive. So we're going to try to put them into a bigger pot, let them get a little bit bigger, and then we can transplant them from that point into the ground, or in our case, the raised beds where we're putting those. So we got lots of collards here, and then we also have a couple of trays of tomatoes right here. These are Homestead and Floridade is what the name of these two are, and these will be the bigger tomatoes. So we're going to transplant all these guys into these pots, and hopefully they will grow and we'll get a good harvest out of them.
I'm busy transplanting these collard plants that we bought at the store. They are so expensive this year, and we had the hardest time finding any. So we want to make sure that these babies live and thrive. Usually we do so well with collards that we just can't pick them often enough. They get to be arm length and stuff like that. I'm hoping that's what will happen this year. But I'm putting lots of manure in because that will help leaves to grow And on the collard, that's what you want, is leaves. So I'm watering them in. We just got 2.5 inches of rain yesterday, so most of this soil is already very damp, but we'll keep it going. Several years ago, we did a video with I think it was one of our first harvests from the raised beds, and it was just unbelievable. Kevin showed the length of a collard leaf on his arm all the way from fingertip to shoulder. They were huge, and we've been very blessed to be able to grow good collards around here, and it's a very good crop to have. We cook them and put them in the freezer. Haven't ever canned them, but we eat them and eat them and eat them, and they don't shrink up like the mustards or the turnip greens or those other greens. They have a big pot of it. You end up with 2 tablespoons once they cook down. Collards are more like a cabbage leaf, and they in flavor and texture, and they don't shrink up so bad. So that's one of the benefits from collards too.
One of the things that we grow quite well here in Florida are papayas. We have several of them in this row right here. There's 5 or 6 of them, I think. And whenever we eat the papayas, we save the seeds and all the peels and everything from those, and we feed those to the pigs. When we feed them to the pigs, they love them. But then they deposit the seeds in their pig pen, and then we end up with another papaya. That's where this one came from. This came out of the pig pen. So whenever we find them out, they're growing, we dig them up, put them in pots, wait till they get big enough, then we put them in the ground. So it's just like a pig farmer, I guess. Pigs like to farm too. Anyway, so that's what we're planting today. So I'm getting ready to put this one in the ground right here, and hopefully it'll do as well as these others over here next to it are. And we'll get some more papayas. So let's keep this thing going. Alright, so we got our peas planted. These are the snow peas. And we ran 2 rows down either side of these T-posts that are in here. And we put string around them for them to climb. We've done quite well with these in the other garden for our past couple of years now, I think. And so we moved these to the west garden, which is what we call this now. And we're going to see how these go. We're hoping that they will do well. In the past, they've been planted in the raised bed. So Carol's just adding some seeds into the areas where there's not anything coming up yet. And hopefully that will help to fill them in even more.
This other stuff has been in the ground only a week and 2 days. And that's pretty good size for a week growth.
Yeah, they're growing quite well. So hopefully we will be able to get a lot out of this year again. Now we have been planting some different things out here in these big black pots. I put some lettuce seeds in these 2 round pots right here. And what we do is, to keep the moisture in because it's so hot here, we put these bags, pieces of bags. These are actually the feed bags that we use for the pigs and the other animals. We just cut one side of it out, stick it down in the pot like you see there, and it keeps the moisture in. See this one here, I haven't put it in yet. This one's got one in it. So when we come out here to water, we just pull that bag out, water it, put it back in. Once they start to grow, and they start getting about the size of these right here, then we don't have to do that anymore. This is some lettuce also. So we're going to continue putting these in, and we'll show you what's happening next. This is one of our raised beds, and what Carol did was she came in here and we cut all the okra down as it was done, and she put in beets in here. So we've got beet seeds in, and we did the same thing here we did in those tubs I was just showing. Put a tarp over them, and it keeps the moisture in. Once they start to come up, then we take the tarp out, and they should be okay. So this is just one of the things we have to do here in Florida because we have such hot weather. stuff dries out so fast when it doesn't rain for a long time that it doesn't take very long for these guys to just die out. So this is how we keep things alive. Well, we got some stuff done today.
Lots of stuff.
Lots of stuff, Carol says, yeah. Carol went ahead and put in some beets in there and got those replanted, so now those are in the ground again. I planted some more lettuce in our pots that we have over here, and also some carrots. And we also put some collard greens into one of the raised beds that we cleared out. So we've got lots of stuff planted and going out here, so we're pretty excited about it. So we really have a sense of accomplishment. We pulled a bunch of weeds and cleared some stuff out that we've been leaving off until, you know, it got cooler. In the summertime out here, it's just too hot to get out here and pull weeds. So we do as little as possible until it cools off. We got a lot of stuff swept and cleaned up and raked up, and it looks a lot better out here. Just gonna kind of clean the place up a little bit. So it's looking good. So thanks for joining us here today in our little endeavor in our garden. Hope you enjoyed it, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed yet. And thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Hideaway Homestead.